Well, it is a real delight for me to be standing here next to Laura Russell, and your book, Brassicas, has just hit the stores, hasn't it?
Brand new.
So first of all, let's talk a little bit about why the name Brassica. So why not, kohlrabi or Brussels sprouts? Why that specific title?
Well, Brassica is the name of the whole group. So you may have never heard the name Brassica before, but you probably know the vegetables. They're also known as the cabbage family, or some people even call them the mustard family or cruciferous vegetables. So it's not something new, it's just a word that people are using more frequently now.
Because most people would probably instantly think, if they do know the word, oh, that would be broccoli, cauliflower, stuff like that. So that we're familiar with, but this is like the umbrella name for all of these great things, and they really are great for us to eat, aren't they?
They are great, and it does include the big guns, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, but also some things people may not associate with the group. Bok choy, horseradish, rutabagas, a lot of the really nutrient-dense vegetables.
And one of those that is really surprisingly nutrient-dense is kale. And so you're going to be showing us, we're going to be talking about a couple different ways to use kale. So why don't you jump in and tell me what we're going to do?
Great. Kale is one of my favorites. I want to do a couple things. First of all, this is called Tuscan kale. Sometimes it's called black kale. And I just want to show you how I get it ready to cook, and then how I make some kale chips, and also a really easy kale salad.
So I'm assuming when you say get it ready to cook, you're going to be taking out that main skin?
Right. So the first thing I do this also with collard greens or mustard greens. There's a very thick rib right here. And it's certainly edible, but it's not really that pleasant. It's kind of hard to chew. So I fold the leaf lengthwise in half, and I take a paring knife, and I just go right along the stem. And this is called a V cut, because when you open it up, then you've got a V. So I always do this for sure if I'm making a kale salad that will be eaten raw. If you're cooking the kale, you could leave it in, but I still think it's a little bit chewy, so I like to take it out. At this point, you could do a couple of things. I love to make kale chips. My kids love eating kale chips. In that case, I might just cut it into roughly similar sized pieces. And then I put these on a baking sheet, toss them with a little bit of olive oil and salt, and then I just bake them at about 250 or 300 degrees, a really low oven. And what you're trying to do is just sort of dehydrate them. And then they get nice and crisp. You can actually hear the crunch. When they come out of the oven, you could sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on them. You could add a little bit of red pepper flakes or cumin. And I even sprinkled these with some nutritional yeast, which is vegan, but it makes them taste kind of cheesy, so it's a fun...
And they're delicious.
They are delicious, and I just have them out on the counter. That's my trick. I keep them out, and then my kids walk in, oh, I'm hungry, I guess I'll eat this kale.
And they're so much more filling than like regular types of potato chips too, because they're so dense.
Exactly. Kale has a lot of fiber. It actually even has a lot of protein. So if you're eating this as a snack, it's a lot more filling than if you're eating some junk.
So exactly. So then can I assume that if you're not going to make the chips but this salad, you're going to be cutting it a bit smaller?
Exactly. So, and I can just show you really quickly. If I'm making a kale salad, I'll just stack up the leaves and I roll them kind of in a tight little cigar. And this technique is called chiffonade. So then I just cut them crossways, and it makes a nice little chiffonade. That's what I use for the kale salad. You don't have to cut it so thin, but if you're eating kale raw, I just like to have it a little bit thinner than a big chunk.
So now, Laura, what are the rest of the ingredients in this salad?
So it's very, very simple, but it's interesting. I made a Spanish-style dressing here. This is sherry vinegar and smoked paprika, and I'm just going to whisk in a little olive oil. There's also a little bit of salt and pepper in there, but that's pretty much it as far as the dressing goes. And then what I want to do is just toss it together with tongs. More than just a little mix. I usually like to dig in for about a minute or two just to soften that kale. The great thing about the kale being so sturdy is this salad will last. I mean, you can make it ahead. It will last in the refrigerator for a couple days. It's not going to wilt immediately like lettuce. Then I'm just tossing in, this is 2 hard-boiled eggs and 1/3 cup of toasted almonds. If you really wanted to keep with that Spanish theme, you could use Marcona almonds. But that's the salad. That's it. So
very easy.
It is super easy, and it's substantial enough. You could actually probably eat it, as your lunch.
As a whole meal.
As a whole meal, you really could.
Well, if you've thought about getting into more of the brassicas and to eating better and more healthy, this is the book for you. You can find it at Amazon.com, or you can go to any of your local bookstores. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.